just set the intention that you're open for this experience and open to receive, and then maybe just book can be a plane ticket, a train ticket, or just the first accommodation, and then yeah, trust that it's going to be amazing because there's so much beauty in the unknown and so many amazing people out in the world. That's I am Sarah. I was born in Belgium. Always, I think since I was very little, I always loved to travel. I had a grandmother who actually loved traveling and who always took us with her. So I had the opportunity to travel to Egypt. There was Tunisia, and like those were the first time I was leaving Europe. And yeah, I was actually quite young. And I don't know. I'm starting, of course, we were talking about traveling, but that's the thing I want to talk about as well, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I remember um, during my teenage years, I was still in high school and I was going to Brussels to school. And I remember two women talking together. And I
Yeah.
couldn't recognize, I think I was like 12 years old or something, maybe 11 actually. And I was commuting to Brussels and taking the train, and I was listening to their conversation, and they spoke a language I didn't know. And I asked my older sister, who's 1 year older than me, like, oh, what language are they talking? And she told me, oh, they're talking Spanish. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
this is such a beautiful language. I want to learn it. And I think that's where the first seed had been planted. I knew that one day I was going to travel to learn all these languages. And I was always so curious about other nationalities, cultures. Yeah, so that's how after everyone was talking about, oh, what are you going to do after high school and what are you going to study? And I was like, I'm only thinking about my gap year and all the travels that I'm going to do. And so, yeah, I had already asked my parents, I think I was 14 or 15 years old, if I could travel after my senior year and that I wanted to learn English and Spanish. Um, and so that's how, yeah, at 17, I left for 1 year. And I did a high school program in the US, in California, where
yeah.
I went to live with a host family and then went back to high school, and then followed by 4 months in Guatemala, where I took some Spanish classes and volunteered in different projects, and it was the most amazing year.
I
So yeah,
love
I think that's
that.
the first thing I want to share about myself. It's yeah, that's curiosity and that um, love for traveling and meeting new people, and yeah.
Like, so over the time, do you feel like your way of traveling has changed? I mean, it has, because
Yeah.
from 14 to today, things are different, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the first travels, of course, it was with my family, and so that's very different because you just tag along in some way,
Yeah.
but you don't have to care much about the organization, the planning. That's yeah, I think my first travels when it started at 17, but then I did a lot of backpacking trips as well through South America. And the first solo
Oh,
backpacking trip,
yeah.
yeah, I think that was in 2013. I started in Brazil and ended 6 months later in Colombia.
Oh,
Um, and there it was really backpacking, changing location every 4 or 5 days. I did some volunteer work as well and Workaway. I don't know if you're familiar with
yeah.
Workaway, the
I
platform where,
heard.
yeah. So that's where I also did in Bolivia my first Workaway project. Um, but yeah, I think I was rushing through the places and always trying to find the next best thing to do.
Yeah.
And I was traveling a lot in hostels. But say that since COVID, a lot has changed. Of
Mm.
course, we were limited where to the
Yeah.
destinations and the places we could travel. But even during lockdown, I found a way to take a career break and from my job, and still go travel. And I went for a few months to Portugal, where I did some work away as well. And I really started to um, take my time to travel. Like really, I love slow traveling. Like I cannot do like
Yeah.
going from one town or one city to another or one country to another. I really like to take my time and really to live in the country,
Yeah.
to meet the locals. And I don't know, I love going to the little local shops and like hi and call them by the name and then come back and then talk. Um, yeah, with the local people and see how they live, and then really try to learn the language as well if it's possible, of course, if
Yeah.
I'm there long enough. But I really want to immerse in the culture and not just
Yeah.
like
At least
do
the
sightseeing.
a few words, right? When you are in the place and you don't really know the language, you want to learn at least a
Yeah,
few words to
of
communicate.
course. Yes, always, always. I think that's so important. And yeah, I mean, I'm visiting their country, so I want to adapt as much as possible and
Yeah.
respect their language, their culture. You know?
Well, you started everything so young. So my next question, actually, I'm going to change maybe a little bit of topic, but you said that at 18, at even an very early age, you like an idea appeared in you, right? Like you knew that you were going to do this thing. Can you tell us more
Mhm.
about what that idea was
Yeah.
and how did it just appear in you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I told you about US, and then I went to Guatemala. I stayed for 4 months in Antigua, which is the former capital of Guatemala, and lovely little town. And so I was also in a host family. But during weekends, with the friends I made during my trip, we
Yeah.
decided to travel a little bit to discover the rest of Guatemala. And then we're going to Flores, which is near Tikal. And we're booking for me, it was my first youth hostel.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was called Los Amigos. And it was such an amazing place where everyone felt really at home. And we got to know so many different people in the hostel itself and just the atmosphere, everything. And I don't know, it felt like so obvious to me at that moment that I was like, I also want to bring people together and from different nationalities, from all over the world, and gather them under one roof and um, I don't know, just see them bond together and create
Yeah.
beautiful relationships. And I don't know, there was so many sparks happening that night. We only stayed one night in that hostel, but that was all it took for the seed to be planted. And well, that idea has evolved a lot over the years. That's really where the seed had been planted. Um, then, if I fast forward a little bit, I went through more a conventional path, going to a 9 to 5 job. It was during COVID again, or just
Oh,
right
okay.
after COVID. I was like, okay, I really want, like, this is a dream I always had, but I'm not doing anything about it. And I'm working behind the desk. I still love my job because I was helping people with their professional goals and interviewing them and coaching them, but I still wanted, like, okay, I want a job where I can move and meet people all the time and really bring them together and not just have like short moments. I want people to stay on the long term and like stay, stay that we all live together. And so, yeah, I was going through a difficult phase at that time in my job, and I took another career break and decided to start traveling
Interesting.
again because it's my medicine. It's whenever I'm traveling,
Mm.
I'm so much happier, and I feel like
Yes.
I'm very much grounded. And I decided to go walk the Camino de Santiago. Kind of,
Um,
this was in 23. I hadn't realized yet, but I was going through burnout. And when I was walking, at the end, I mean, I walked for 6 weeks, but I loved how all the pilgrims came together and hearing all those shared stories about their life and what brought them on the Camino. And I don't know, I had so many lovely conversations that my idea changed. I was like, maybe I'm gonna open a guest house on the for the pilgrims on the Camino. And to be honest, it's still somewhere there, but yeah, I really like the fact that people stay long term.
Yeah.
Uh, Not just like I said, the way I'm traveling has changed a lot. Uh, and I like taking my time and being in the present moment and really being able to foster relationships and create um, magical moments. And sometimes when it's too short, there's not enough time to create all of that. That's why I
Yeah.
really uh, yeah
You
see
know,
it more as a co-living now, and where people could stay
yeah.
longer.
Your journey started maybe in a more conventional path, and you just,
Mhm.
did started to shape it and just
Yeah,
having your own path of transformation. So how
yeah.
did that happen? How did you went from a
Mm.
conventional path to something that feels more aligned with you?
Yeah. Well, from 18 till I would say 26, I was still kind of traveling. I was either traveling during my gap year and then going to college and studying and then saving up money again to go do like another trip, 6 month trip. And so I was taking like little jobs here and there, but nothing um like a long-term contract. I was like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
ready for that yet. And then I started working in the tourism sector, uh, where I sent people to do some volunteer projects. And actually, it was the organization I left with, World Education Program. That's the organization
Yeah.
I left with during my gap year when I was 17, 18, and loved that job. But after a few years, I wanted to change. And so I switched job again, and there I started working as a job counselor, career coach for
Yeah.
the public sector, and helping people that were unemployed finding their way back to
Oh,
work. Or and so that's where also talking about their dream project and everything they love to
yeah.
do. And yeah, that's where all of that started. I think I would have had to always been a question that I loved asking people, but and I don't know, it had been, I think I stopped traveling around 26, 27. When I say stop traveling, it's because I like the traveling for a few months, but there I didn't
Yeah.
have so much time. I went into the more conventional path where I had a 9 to 5 job, and I really tried, like all of my friends and even sisters, to have a job, have my apartment, and I'm not saying I wasn't happy. I had some very good years as well. Um, but
Yeah.
every time I was already thinking about, okay, what's my next travel gonna be? Like, I want to move, I want to meet more international
Yeah.
people, or yeah, and I was missing that very much.
Hmm.
So my job of fortunately allowed me to, because it was a public sector, to take career breaks. So I
Yeah.
started slowly traveling again. First time around 21, that was in Portugal, and then a few years later in 23, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I told you right before, but I knew I wasn't happy in my job anymore,
Hmm.
that I wanted to travel. But I still started looking for other jobs in Brussels, thinking that maybe if I changed job and I was more on the field, helping people still with their professional goals, but more like not behind the
Yeah.
desk and on the field, I thought that that would be the answer to all of my problems.
Yeah.
And then on a on the intuition, I remember going through all the interviews. I got a call from the recruiter, and she said, "We loved you. We want to hire you. Can you start in 1 month?" And I was like, "Okay, no." I was like, I need to think about it. Give me the weekend, and I'll call you back on Monday." And I remember Monday, I still don't know what I'm going to tell them. I just know that I don't want to leave my current job without doing another career break, because that was one of the perks. I can do it. I still have my
Mm.
job security afterwards, and I can leave for 3, 4 months. And so I call them back, and very spontaneously I tell them, okay, I'm not gonna accept the job because there's a personal project I have, which is going on a career break and start traveling again. And on that, they answered to me, okay, but we're ready to wait for you in 3, 4 months. That's how
Oh,
much they wanted to hire me.
wow.
So I was very flattered, but at the same time, suddenly I felt something in my body like this is not the answer I was expecting. I was kind of hoping for some relief that they would say, "Oh, sorry, we cannot hire you because we really need someone very, very soon." And
Yes.
yeah, but not at all. So that's where I very spontaneously told him, "Well, thank you so much for the offer, but I'm going to trust my intuition, and something tells me that I might come back from this travel completely changed, and I once I commit, I fully commit. So I don't want to give you false hopes and that you wait for me 4 months and that you end up with no one." So I declined. They were surprised, but also like it's so good. Like, wow, you're listening to your intuition. That's the best thing to
Mm.
do. So yeah, a few weeks later, I was leaving for the Camino without any goal, just like, okay, I need some time away from my working environment, my living environment, and even social environment. I felt like, I don't know, that was the best thing to do for me, just to take some distance, to have new perspectives, and letting the answers come to me, and finding some time and some silence to really listen to what I wanted because it was still very much unclear.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, and I don't know, I could speak for hours about what the Camino has taught me and how wonderful this experience has been. Um, but I'm gonna fast forward towards the end of my 4 month trip. I did 6 weeks of walking, and then I went to Italy and did some volunteering there. When I came back, I left
Yeah.
in May and came back end of August. I set foot in Belgium, and suddenly I came to my apartment, and I felt this heaviness. I don't know how to explain it,
Mm.
but I finally had, after 4 months, I had some energy. I started
Yeah.
slowly dreaming again, and and suddenly felt like all of this energy had been drained out of me,
Yeah.
and I was back at square one. Uh, I was feeling very anxious about going back to work. I remember specifically I was in my room, and um, there was like this little voice telling me there's something more. Like this is not it.
Mm.
Like this
Yeah.
cannot be my life. Like this is not what I want for myself. And I think I went back beginning of September to my job, and 2 weeks later I had to see the doctor because I couldn't do the job anymore. Like and yeah, he diagnosed me with burnout. So I stopped working. I was on sickness leave for a few months, but
Mhm.
first really had to find my energy back and really take care of myself before even starting to think about what the next step would be. But
Yeah.
slowly, after a few months, um, I just started, even though I was very unsure about what I wanted to do still.
Yeah.
Um, I just knew that this little seed that I had planted when I was 18 was coming back, and in a different form. Like I said, maybe I was thinking about opening it on the Camino. I wasn't sure, but I knew that I wanted to live with people. I started really writing everything that were
Wow.
like the main ingredients that I
I love
needed
that.
for my happiness recipe. Like, okay, what is
I
something
love
I
that.
absolutely need in order to feel fulfilled? And I actually
Yeah.
started drawing that. Like I
That's
didn't make it as
amazing.
a list. Yeah, and I started to represent myself in a cartoonish way. In a very happy state, like I'm the happiest I can be in the center of the drawing. And then slowly it was very therapeutical for me. I
Perfect.
started
Yeah.
drawing and adding elements um, to like the big picture, and there was always there was a Camino, of course, but there were like this little house and little wooden cabin. I
I
don't know.
love that.
I love it because it's charming, and where people were arriving either by bike, walking, or coming from all different different places. And so that's how I was imagining
It's
people
amazing.
coming and arriving to La Casita, well, which is now still my dream project, La Casita de la Magia. I didn't have the name back then, but and yeah, I drew a big table where everyone was around the table and was sharing food, stories. I also
Yeah.
represented actually little tokens, from games or Scrabble. And because I love to play, I love to invent games, and like learn through play. And so I integrated all of those elements, and yeah, it became my vision board in some way. I didn't know I was making my vision
I
board, but
love
it started that
that.
way. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
So
I love that
yeah, that's
story.
slowly how I started changing things in my life, and I kept looking at this drawing. It was I had framed it and put it near my bed, and I remember I started when I started, I had energy again to start travel. That was a few months later, like 6 to 8 months after. Yeah, I had left my job and everything, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I just did like a went first back to Spain, and the craziest thing is that when I started moving and traveling again, some of the things I had put on the that I had drew
Yeah.
started like happening in real life. Like I
That's
ended up
amazing.
in the most weirdest way in the house of someone that knew the person I was staying at her place, and she invited me into her home, and then I go into her garden and I see this big table with the big tree. It's exactly how I had drawn it on my
Oh,
drawing.
wow.
And yeah, so suddenly everything I had visualized or started manifesting in real life. And then I really started trusting all the signs and just like, okay, I trust. I don't know where I'm going, but I do know what I don't want anymore. And I started letting go of everything that I didn't want anymore in my life. And I knew I wanted nature, so not live in
Hmm.
Brussels anymore. I knew I wanted to create my own project and start living the dream instead of always postponing it to, oh, once I will be
Yeah.
retired. I was like, no, I don't want to wait.
Yeah.
I want to
That's so
start living it
powerful.
now. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I made the
And
first steps and slowly, and I'm still in the process of, I mean,
yeah.
the dream is also the experience and everything you're experiencing on the way. It's not like just the final goal. It's
I love
all
that part.
the
Yes.
yeah, all the people you meet along the way, and yeah, the memories you create, and so yeah,
Yeah. And
one
it's
step at
not
a time.
something
But
fixed. I
yeah,
feel
no, no,
like
no.
it's
It's the
like
whole
something that
process as well.
evolves. Yes.
That's yeah. Hmm.
I was listening to you, and I think we should talk more about this because I mean, like in life, we should talk about this because somehow society just told us or taught us to just, go into a career, grow in that career, and just
Yeah.
stay there. Like that's what we are supposed to
Hmm.
do, right? It's scary when we start realizing that we may not be where we want to be, that we can dream different things for ourselves. And it's scary to
Hmm.
just acknowledge that
Yeah. Yeah.
feeling and say, okay, am I just going crazy, or I should I really listen to that feeling? So I
Hmm.
love that how you just embrace that feeling. Like maybe it was not super easy because as you described it, like you needed to took some career breaks and
Hmm.
just face or reject a job that sounded at the beginning like it was for you, but you felt
Yeah.
inside that it wasn't. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
was listening to you, and it just
mm,
I love how you just embrace the process and trusted your guts.
Yeah.
I think that that's so important.
Yeah, I can't thank myself enough for having listened to that little voice that day because it didn't make sense. Not at all. Like I didn't know why I was saying no. It
Yeah.
was in some way counterintuitive. Like I
Yes.
knew I was listening to my intuition, but at the same time, I felt like, um, but I should take this job, right? It checks all the
Yeah.
boxes and blah blah blah. And or what is my family? What are my friends going to say? Like, how am I going to justify the fact
Yeah.
that I'm saying no to a perfectly um, good job on paper?
Yes.
But I think I reached that point of um, yeah, because a lot of people when I have told this part of my story, they said, "Oh wow, you're um, that must have been so hard." But I think I had reached that point where the hardest part was indeed continuing the process, even though like you don't have a clear direction. But
Yeah.
the easy part for me was letting go of everything that wasn't serving me anymore. I was so much suffocating in my life, and I knew that some things I needed to close the door or close like many chapters in my life. And that
Yeah.
was not, I mean, the job was not easy, but like leaving my apartment was okay. I even sold all of my stuff and all my belongings. And
Yeah.
I realized in the process that it was okay. I kind of felt relieved getting rid of all of that.
Yeah.
So some things were very, like, brought a lot of relief. Others were like really going to the unknown was a little bit scary. But I knew it was the
Yes.
right thing to do. And honestly, every time I was like taking a decision that felt aligned, even though I didn't know exactly where it was leading me, but I just felt like I think this is the right thing to do. And
Yes.
um I don't know, doors started opening. I started meeting the right people, and slowly having like bits of answers or where I wanted to go. And yeah, started following the signs as well.
That's amazing. That, and I also love how you just started to do that, like seeing yourself, what would be that version of
Mhm.
yourself that was going to be like your happy self.
Yeah.
I know you are an experienced co-liver. I think that you have been going around different co-livings, and I would love to learn a bit more about that experience. I've never had an experience at a co-living. I know that a lot of people enjoy those. I'm very curious. I want to do at least one experience in a co-living. Some point, and I also would love to learn it, the experience in the co-living, like because it matches somehow your that
Yeah.
vision of the big
Yeah.
table, right? That um connects somehow with La Casita de la Magia, your experiences with the co-livings.
Yeah. So when I started traveling again after my burnout, I ended up quite I had heard about co-livings, but I had never
Yeah.
experienced them. And I don't know why I thought it was a false belief, of course, of mine. But I had the perception that it was mainly for digital nomads, for remote workers, and I was in this transitioning phase, so I didn't know if I belonged in the co-livings, if I would
Mhm.
be a good fit. Um, but I don't know. I just decided I wanted to go back to Spain and specifically to Galicia and started looking
Yeah.
there for a first co-living. And I found one that was quite recent, growth co-living. Um, but you said to talk about one specific. So it's not the one I'm going to talk about today, but just to say that that's around
Yeah.
that time was my first experience. And I soon realized that everything I thought about co-livings, you have to be a remote worker or a freelance, or That no, you meet all kinds of people in co-livings, also people that are going through life transition. So yeah, that's I think the first answer I got is that everyone belongs there if you share the same values, of course, as the people staying there. But
Yes. I
every time I had the vision, I imagined people coming there, and also the place being like a big playground where everyone can try new things, offer new
yeah.
things, share knowledge, share experiences. There would be talks, there would be sharing circles. I was imagining all of that. And then when I arrived at Chateau Co-Living and even the first co-living, everyone was organizing skill shares, masterminds, and there were family meetings where we all gathered once a week to decide, okay, what do we want to do this week and how do we want to co-create this week together or even the rest of the month. And I don't know, I saw the collective intelligence and people really like living together, but mostly co-creating and sharing. And I felt like, oh my gosh, actually everything that I had in mind already exists, and it's called a co-living. Like, of course, there will
Yeah.
be my little twist,
Nice.
and I wanted to be a co-living where people can reconnect with their dreams and what makes them um, happy and feel alive, and yeah, reconnect with what truly matters. But like the structure, the community, the sense of community, everything was already there. So for me, that was an amazing surprise. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I ended up in the first co-living or even in the second, like randomly. What I love so much about co-livings is um, you're meeting such amazing people. I feel inspired every day, but
Yeah.
not because people are doing like crazy things. It's mostly inspired by those small moments that we share
Hmm.
during it can be a conversation, even like in the kitchen, or just as we're walking to the co-working,
Yeah.
or just like the way people share their life story. And I don't know, I always feel so inspired. I think inspiration is what I love most about co-livings is and the human
Wow.
connections. Yeah. Um, and also the growing process. Like I feel like it's like going to the school of life. You learn so many things about
I love that
you, about the
comparison.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's a playground, like I said in the beginning, and that's also how I see my future co-living. I want it to be a place where people can experience a lot of things. There's so much you feel so safe with the people,
Yeah.
and because you live together, you work kind of
So
together,
important.
everyone has their own job, but there's so much respect, and we all share the same values of community. We all love to travel. So, I don't know. You learn so much from the people you're
Yeah.
interacting with and you're living with, and those bonds also last beyond the
Yeah.
stays in the co-living. I'm still friends with yeah, the co-livers I've lived with in the past, and we've with some of them we've met again, and we're still talking about
Really.
meeting up again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And going,
I
oh, to which
love
co-living
that.
are you going
Yeah.
after? And yeah, so yeah, then we try to meet. So no,
I feel like
so many
co-living
things.
is an experience that once you start, you keep having them, or you want to keep having them,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But it was in Galicia where so it actually started with the birthday of a co-liver.
Uh-huh.
And because I'm going to talk about the experiences and make the link with what I said before about letting go, that it's when you let go that suddenly clarity appears or
Yeah.
the answers appear. Um, Yeah, so I for his birthday, that person had mentioned that he had never really had like a surprise birthday party or something like that. And so I was like, oh, okay, let's do
Oh.
something special for his birthday. Um, but not in a sad way, just like he had mentioned it,
Yeah.
and so I love organizing that kind of event. So
Yeah.
and I also had heard that one of his dreams was to climb the Kilimanjaro. And so I don't know, I started like organizing a whole game around that dream, but also that includes the other co-livers. And because I love bringing people together and then create connection. And
Yeah.
if on top of that we can also reconnect with what like makes
Mm.
our heart beat, that's like the
Yeah.
cherry on the cake. I'm not
Yeah.
okay. So La Casita de la Magia, it's a magical universe where you can reconnect with one of your dreams, and you can either do it collectively during collective and immersive experiences in co-livings.
Yeah.
So the first edition will happen at Enchanted Co-Living in April,
Yeah.
which is in France. And so I'm
I
very
love it.
excited about this first collaboration. Um, because yeah, like I said, I always chooses magical places where
Yeah.
inspiration thrives, where you're connected to nature, where you're invited to slow down and start looking inwards, and yeah, where you're ready to go on this journey with other co-livers, other dreamers, and
Yeah.
start discussing your dreams and explore one during a month. I think that's the reason I do 1 month experiences, is because sometimes talking about your dreams can be quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you also need to feel safe. And
True.
so, yeah, you need to time as well to get to know the people, but also to let the dream emerge. So, like a Cita de la Magia, it's yeah. So there's also time for to let go and process everything. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the experience I create in existing co-living so far. And besides that, I am also working because I realized that I talked about it a lot during the interview, but visualizing your dreams is for me a very powerful manifestation tool. And
Yes.
so I also illustrate people's dream. And then in so I'm launching this and preparing this offer, Draw Me a Dream, where let's say you and me would have a deep conversation about one of your dreams. And then I would turn it into a symbolic hand-drawn illustration, pretty much the size of a postcard, because I know that a lot of people are traveling and I
Mhm.
want it to be easy to bring along with you so that you can look at it every day,
I
and
love
still
that.
reconnect with the dream you have.
Yes.
And you will get a symbolic letter as well that explains and the different symbols in the illustration, and also yeah, everything we talked about during our deep conversation about your dream and how to use
I
um,
love that.
this talisman. Yeah, yeah. So
I
that's
love it.
yeah. Some of it is also included in the immersive and collective experiences. Some of the tools I use as well, but yeah, I realize it helped me a lot, and I want to help other people being able to. And sometimes it's hard to visualize your dream, but when you have this little reminder and
Yeah.
you're looking at it every day, you're connecting to the emotions that you want to feel. I don't know. I could ask you what is one of your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And then yeah, you would connect to those emotions that you want to feel, and then every day you can even script or do some journaling in front of it, or
Yeah.
in a very playful manner way, um, write like small actions, aligned actions you could do related to your dream, and then look at it, and then draw one from a little ball, and okay, what am I going to do? And I think I don't know.
I like it.
I really want to help
I
people reconnect
love,
with that dream. I do believe, I have, however, that everything is possible, even if some dreams take more
yeah.
time than others. I really believe that everything is possible. Um, and yeah, sometimes it starts with a first step and just even
Yeah.
speaking your dream out loud, and just started reconnecting with it. Yeah.
I'm just curious. What are like the highest lessons on the top moments of your year?
Mhm. I think my highest moment of the year was when I was in Chateau co-living and last February, almost a year ago already.
Yeah,
And I did this first immersive experience around the dreams, and I saw how it unfolded and how beautifully it unfolded
yeah.
over the month. And I don't know, the word I have for it is magical. And I felt so many emotions, especially during the last event where the last workshop kind of where everything unfolded. I don't know. So
Yeah,
whenever I think of that moment, my heart is filled with love and I don't know, just positive emotions.
yeah,
Um,
like this.
and yeah, so that I definitely want to bring with me to 26 and create more of these moments.
Yeah,
And I realized that I'm more happy when I'm surrounded by people, and then I miss the
yeah,
community life. And so, yeah, I think my focus will also be on spending more time with people. That's
yeah.
where and nourish those relationships. And
That's
yeah,
so nice.
um, yeah, that's something I definitely want to do more of next year as well. And
Well, actually, it's related to my next question, my last question. Because there are a lot of people, myself, I started only 4 years ago, already an adult, and I was just so scared. I didn't know where to start or,
mm,
you know. But you have a lot of experience, and so I was just wondering what would be an advice that you have for people who want to start to travel, to live, to experience the world, but don't really know where to start or like are scared, you know?
actually, the first step is just it can start with something small, even just a weekend trip or a city trip, or
Mm.
um, but just make this first booking and trust that everything will fall into place, and then think about the emotions you want to feel during that trip. And I would say, yeah, trust because it's gonna be even more amazing than you think. And even though, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my best travels have been the ones that I didn't plan ahead and that I just like booked the first and was ready to receive and yeah, was just open to be open, just open to meet people, open to a change of plans, open to
Mm.
yeah,
Yes.
and have a
I
conversation with
love
you.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. I
Thank you
love
so much, Vale.
this conversation.